Good arising, brethren. This is Big Judah coming to you guys from California. Before I begin, give all praises to the Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother, who was wisdom, who was the Holy Spirit. Acknowledge Yahushai. I pray that the Most High blesses this lesson this afternoon, gives more knowledge and understanding of the events of the past in order to understand the events that are currently happening on the earth. So we get a much better understanding of the things that are soon to come on the earth. Brother, we're going to be getting into making these connections once again. We're going to be apply the information that the Most High has given us to things that we have been told, explanations that the Gentiles have been trying to give for landmarks all over the world. And today we're going to be jumping into Stonehenge. We're going to be jumping into, what they've been talking about as far as the people who actually created that site, how they did it. We're going to look at it from, the historical records here and the book of the Black Celts. And then we're going to look at what the other nations have been trying to tell us about who built it. Now, something I want to talk about is that the other nations have stolen our history or hidden our history from us and given it to themselves. So they can portray themselves as the builders. They can portray themselves as the masons of the world. And Baruch, too, has been coming to my head about how in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves. Well, see, we're seeing how big this remembering ourselves is. It's not just about learning about our names, how they stole those, our lands. I mean, we think it's just like a little small, Africa to here, and that's pretty much it. That's why, they keep been pushing us so much at Africa. You guys had no history. You guys didn't build anything. You guys were nobody. You guys were lucky that we brought you over here on slave ships so that you can live under the tutelage of the so-called white man. And he has put himself up, talking about how he's built all these great things. And when he wasn't around, it's always, well, we don't know who built it. We're going to be talking about this right here. Now, look at today. What are they telling everybody? To go out and vote. To go out and vote. Why are they telling everybody to go out to vote? You got two choices. Two old, crusty, so-called white men who are in their 70s. And our people are like, oh, yeah, I'm going to go vote. I'm going to go vote. I'm going to go vote. Why is that? You know why? Because they've made it seem as if we need them. They have made it seem as if this all goes back to history. If we don't have a history, then we have to cling on to someone, to teach us, to take care of us. And that's been what they've been pushing this whole time. They have been pushing that we need them. We can't do anything without them. We never built anything. We only got stuff accomplished because they were the heads and we were the tails. And we were lucky, that they brought us over here from Africa to work for them, to be their slaves. I'm going to show you guys a quick little video. Now, see, they've been pushing out the whole time. When they can't push out anymore, they just find someone that looks like us to push the same thing. That's why it's so important for them to take credit for the structures that we built. This is why it's so important for them to hide the history, because then we need them. That's what they push, and that's what they, ingrain in us subconsciously. They ingrain it on television with the whole, you need to vote. You only got these two choices, but you got to vote, because these guys are going to lead us out of all of the calamities that are coming and that are here. We need two old white men to lead all of us. So that's kind of like a way of idol, an example of like idol worship. These guys, not the Most High, not praying to the Most High. That's not what's going to save you, but praying to these two, praying to one of these two old guys, these old two white men. They're going to save you. They're going to lead you. The federal government is going to lead you through all the calamities that the Most High is about to bring. And when they talk about praying to Jesus, well, we already know what that's going to get them. But check out this video. See, I love how they found I'm sure a lot of you guys have already seen it, but I wanted to share it. Let me make sure it's at the start.
What's wrong with you, black women? What's wrong with you voting for Barack Obama? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with y'all? You niggas are crazy. Black people, let me tell y'all something. If you don't ever hear me say preach again, they can kill me tomorrow. Let me tell you something. We're not going to ever get anywhere until we look into the mind of a black man. He doesn't think correctly. I don't care what he is. He can be a doctor. He can be an astrophysicist. The nigga ain't got no sense. You talk to him. You talk to a black man. He doesn't understand the world. He's never built anything. The most the black people have ever done, they did it here in America under white people's help. When they were in Africa, they didn't do nothing. Black people had Africa, that big old continent over there. They never built one boat that was seaworthy. Not one. There's not one monument in Africa, in all of Africa. I know you're talking about Egypt. Egypt is not Africa. There are no great cities that were built. Even before the first colonization of white people coming to the shores of Africa or the slave ships, black men built nothing. No sewer system, no houses above one level, and none of them made out of stone, all of them made out of grass and wood. Black men, before the white man ever got to Africa, the worst thing that could ever happen to South Africa was when they gave it to Nelson Mandela and black folk. That was a great nation. Now, notwithstanding apartheid was wrong, we all know it's wrong. I'm against it. There should have been some other resolution, though, than turning it over to Nelson Mandela. Disease, AIDS, and crime is running wild in Johannesburg. They're killing one another over there. They're dying of sickness. The government is mismanaged. The people who ran the nation are now leaving the nation because black folk don't know how to run no nation. They don't know how, and we need to admit it. I know you don't like it, but you need to stop shucking and jiving. We got a problem. Nigeria produces oil every year, yet the children over there are hungry and pot-bellied and walking barefoot. We got a problem.
All right. This is exactly what they've been pushing on us for so long. They pushed Africa, they didn't build nothing. Y'all didn't build anything. You guys didn't do anything. Well, now now we know. You're about to find out we built this. And on top of this, we built a whole lot of other things. But see, that's why this is so important for them to keep us looking at Africa so that then they can control the narrative and say, well, you guys never did anything with Africa until we got there or until we brought you over here to America. They've been telling us this. And the thing is, they don't have to tell you to you straight in the face. They just shove it in your face on television, in their books, in their education system, everywhere. But you're about to see how they've been talking out of both sides of their mouth. The truth is in many of these books and a lot of this information. That's why it's so difficult to get to. Because once you actually get the real history, all these narratives they've been pushing, you're going to quickly understand have been a bunch of lies. Now you're starting to see why the Gentiles are going to come at the end and say, our fathers have inherited lies. You're about to see that right now. Because, like I said, it's so important. for them to be pushing these narratives for this whole time. But that's okay though. I said they've had their time, and now we're coming to the end, and now the Most High is restoring his people, and he's exposing the other nations. He's exposing how they've been confederate against the Most High's chosen people, how they've been confederate with keeping our information a secret. They're just pretty much holding it for us, though, until the Most High said, you're going to have to give it back. You're going to have to restore my people. You're going to have to restore their information. And those are the times that we are in right now. So now we're going to talk about how we built this. When you look at the time periods when they said that this was built, the Indo-Europeans were not there. So they can't be taking credit. When they can't take credit for something, then it's always, it's aliens. If it wasn't us, Indo-Europeans, so-called white people, then it was aliens. We have no idea who in the hell did it. Because we know it couldn't be you so-called black people. We know it couldn't be you so-called Negroes. I said, because y'all didn't build nothing. Look at Africa. So see, now we're not even an option, because when they say what our homelands didn't have, even the black guy, you know how they do that. These past, Egypt, that wasn't black people. You see that? That's what the white people say. It's pretty much just regurgitating the same things that white people have told us for hundreds and hundreds of years. It wasn't you. And if it wasn't us, because we're not for sure if it was us, then it must have been aliens. Aliens came down here and built everything. Well, let's get a little more clarification on what's going on right here. We're going to jump into the Black Celts book right here. You guys can read that. We've been reading it for a little while. Well, let's read the right side. Indo-European tribes first reached Britain and Ireland between 800 BC and 500 BC. Okay. What tribes inhabited Britain and Ireland before these European tribes arrived? A study of folklore, chronology, blood groups, language, Irish and Welsh, and archaeology indicates the arrival of Africans during the Neolithic, Bronze, and Iron Ages. No, it wasn't Africans. It was aliens, huh? It wasn't Africans. Y'all meant to put aliens, right? Yeah, okay. I'm going to read the top part right here, okay? Craniology of Britain and Ireland. Neolithic population of Britain and Ireland, okay? Check this out. The earliest inhabitants of Ireland and Britain were racially homogeneous. All the skulls from this era have been classified as dolichocephalic. This ancient race left a deep impression on both the Irish and Welsh language. Neolithic man, okay, also introduced many animals from Africa. The North African longhorn cattle, the greyhound, the black cattle of Wales, and the reds of Devon. The Hereford and Highland cattle were, according to M. Helsemeyer, introduced by Africans. You got all these animals that were brought over by so-called Africans. Well, I don't know how, what that guy just said, we didn't have any ships. We didn't have any seafaring ships. I don't know how they got these animals from Africa to the islands over here. Quick. You see, like I said, that's why these books are so difficult to get a hold of. Okay, so Africans introduced these animals over there. A study of animal call words throughout Britain has shown that the words used are purely African. The people of the Neolithic age built numerous stone circles and monuments, the most famous being, wait for it, Stonehenge. Geoffrey of Monmouth, a medieval historian, believed these stones to have come from the furthest parts of Africa. These Africans, Geoffrey wrote, settled in Ireland and brought the stones with them. In Hebrides, the large standing stones on the Isle of Lewis were, according to local traditions, built by tall black men. Analysis of the skulls from this era confirm these stories. Now, how come this isn't presented in the schools? How come this information is not presented when they're saying that we don't know who built them? See, that's why they're hiding all this information. They're not even giving this as a thought. They're not even giving this as, hey, we're not sure who built them, but we have this information here. They don't even present that information. That's not even an option for them to show. The only option about our people is you didn't have a history. You came over here on slave ships, and you guys have never built anything. Now, see how this book right here is blowing all that out of the water. That's why it's so hard to get, among other books. Because there's history of our people being all over the place. Now you go back to the couple of videos ago when I did it about the Baal worship, and how there was also on the islands of Britain, okay, and Ireland, as well as, North Africa and other places as well. And it would make sense because, Baal worshiping of Nimrod was going out all over the place. Okay. So this right here is just showing you all this information about how there's other things going on right now. But they do have, they do have their stories, they have their folklore, their local traditions. If you have local traditions, those are the people that are right there. And that's information that's been passed down from generation to generation. How come it's never been told to us over here that the local tradition over there is that Stonehenge was built by tall black men, and that the analysis of the skulls from this era confirmed these sources? So you got scientific evidence that confirms that these were so-called black men that were building Stonehenge. You see how the devil works. You see how, you have to go into information and go here a little and there a little. But you need these kinds of books to unlock it, so that then when we watch movies like King Arthur, you can see them putting truth in there. And how like that whole movie was, a fiction. And it was made up after true stories of King Arthur and his knights. But this was thousands, probably thousands of years before the Indo-Europeans showed up. So the knights and the Knights of the Round Table were so-called black men, because these stories took place before the so-called white man showed up. So now, after getting this information right here, talking about the animals were brought over from from the African continent. So apparently they must have had ships. Okay. And then we get to tell, they tell us that, oh, you guys didn't have ships, you guys didn't have anything over one level. As far as a home is concerned, your stuff was out of grass. You didn't know how to work with stone. But all over the world, you got these stone structures, and they don't know who built them. But in their books, they do know. They have been. They know. That's why this has all been Psalms 83. People working together to keep this information away from us. And during that season of time when we were going through our punishment, okay, the Most High allowed you guys to do that. But now we're coming to the end, and the Most High is restoring his people like he promised to our ancestors, like he promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So next time you hear them say, oh, it was aliens, oh, we don't know, it was during the Neolithic period, well, now you can see that during the Neolithic period, it was us that was here. So things that were built during this time period should be attributed to the ones that lived in these time periods on these lands. You don't get to say, oh yeah, well, so-called Africans, so-called black people lived during the Neolithic time in this area on on the island of Britain, but it couldn't have been them niggas. So we're gonna say it was aliens. You see how it is? It couldn't have been them. So then they come over here, to the Americas, and they did exactly the same thing. Oh, look at all these great structures. Wait, we're not going to say it was these dudes that were already here. These black and brown people. It wasn't them. We know what? Just say that anything before Columbus we don't accept, and don't even question it. That sounds like that'll fly, and that's exactly what they've done. But you know how shame is going to cover them. I said, as the Most High brings these books out, this information out, shame is going to cover them. Now you can see how the pages of the Bible are just jumping off. These events are jumping off the pages of the Bible right now. Because shame is going to cover anyone who keeps on pushing that whole narrative of Africa, 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 slave ships, no history before. Shame is going to cover you. So because the Most High is bringing out all this knowledge and understanding, and you're not accepting it. I would be ecstatic to see this information coming out right now. I cannot believe all the stuff that's coming out right now. It's except the dots are connecting now, even more. Now we got Stonehenge right here, who, they don't want to give credit to the people that were here that made it. But some books are. Some books, like I said, have been, the Most High moved them by the Spirit to write these in these books, knowing that as we get to the end, the Most High is going to bring these books back to our knowledge. I mean, that's actually absolutely amazing right there. We're going to watch another little video on this as well. We talk about homogeneous, of the same kind or alike. So a lot of the people who were living in these areas were homogeneous. And what is that? Of the same kind or alike. What does that mean? So-called black people. They want to keep saying Africans, but we already know that Ham and the Hebrews, I said, we were living together, intermarrying with one another, fighting with each other. So it wasn't just so-called Africans. So it looks like we were going in all over the place. We were, going in and fighting and living together and everything else. It wasn't just confined to, that little itty bitty land of Israel today. This is, like I said, a much bigger setting of these things that were happening. And I love this part right here. Check this out. This is when you understand, when you get this information, and then when you read stuff like this, like from Wikipedia, stuff just jumps out at you. Okay. Stonehenge is a prehistoric monument in Wiltshire, England, 2 miles west of Amesbury. It consists of a ring of standing stones, each around 13 feet high, 7 feet wide, and weighing around 25 tons. These stones are set within earthworks in the middle of the most dense complex of Neolithic and Bronze Age monuments in England. Well, here we go. Who lived on the island here of Britain during the Neolithic age? The guy just told you. It was so-called Africans, so-called black people, a homogeneous group. So all these people were looking alike. Okay? You got also several hundred tumuli or burial mounds as well. So then you can go through those burial mounds, look at the craniums, look at the skulls, and you can realize it shows you that, yes, so-called black men were the ones who came and built Stonehenge. So not only do they have their folk tales, they also have science that backs it up. So when they keep telling you that they don't know, then they're ignoring firsthand accounts of their folk tales, and they're also ignoring science, where they actually have science that actually supports the fact that black people, so-called black people, built Stonehenge. Now you got to go back to other videos that I've done. Who taught the Hamites how to build structures like this? In the Josephus, it tells you that Abraham was the one that taught the so-called Egyptians or these Hamites about math and astronomy and everything else like that. So it wasn't that they had the information themselves. You got to, because now you got to go to the source of where these Egyptians or where these so-called Hamites, and their sons got their information. Got it from Abraham. Where did Abraham get it? Got it from Enoch. Where did Abraham get it? Enoch get it? You got it from the Most High. And it was passed down from generation to generation to our posterity, to our children. But see, they don't want you to know that. So therefore, they make up the whole narrative of Africa, nothing built there. You guys are nothing. This is not your history. Should be making a lot of sense now. So it's absolutely beautiful. Now we're going to watch a little bit of a video here. I'm going to leave these videos in the description box for you guys to check out, okay? This is a good one. Black people built Stonehenge, England? Like a question mark, right?
Why black people built Stonehenge? You can see that is the building, one of the most fantastic buildings in Europe, found in Worcestershire in England. As to the purpose of Stonehenge, again, we can only surmise, but clearly, the very scale of this unique megalithic structure suggests that the area itself was of importance. But for what? Was Stonehenge a temple to the gods? Who were the gods? Let us look into this and realize that millions of tourists flock to see this African wonder in Europe. Stonehenge attracts millions of tourists yearly. Many are oblivious to the fact they are seeing an African wonder. In 1986, Stonehenge was added to the UNESCO's Register of World Heritage. Now, Gerald Massey, in his book, A Book of Beginnings, shown here, to the Egyptian origins of these British islands, he thinks that Stonehenge, the most famous ancient monument in England, was built by a Negro architect named Maurian. More from the ancient Egyptian.
Now, Negroes. And all of a sudden, now we're jumping from African to Negro. Now, you got to understand, Negroes are not Africans. See, that's why a lot of these Hamites, not saying all, but they go along with this whole notion that it's Africans, okay, because they, trying to boost themselves up, trying to bring themselves up and make it seem as if, it was them that built these things, okay? Remember now, Zandervan Bible Dictionary talks about Ham. He's a progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes. We all know that. So now we understand how to, when we hear these things, hey, you got to pick up what they're throwing down here. Okay? They talk about Negroes. Hold on now. Now Negroes would be considered, us Israelites. Then that there substantiates what I just said about how Abraham taught the Hamites. That's why you got to get out of all black people are the same, because we're not. Okay? Abraham taught the Egyptians. Abraham taught the Hamites. So that's why they sit there and try to throw the Hamites in there. But this right at the start of that book, it said it was the Negroes, a Negro architect. Okay, so let's continue.
He continues to say, as a Negro is still known as Maurian in English, British tongue. May not this indicate that Maurian belonged to the black race, the Cushite or African builders?
And see, now they're trying to throw that, he's part of that, the black, the Cushites and everything else. Like I said, these things were built by the Most High, because remember now, Most High's people. So the other nations do not have the knowledge, did not have the knowledge of the stars, of, the things that were going on in the heavenlies. That was given to Enoch when he was translated up to heaven and shown everything. And then before he died, he gave this information to his son to pass down to his son to pass down to his son. He didn't just take anybody up there into the heavenlies and give them the download. That was Enoch. Okay, let's continue. But they're going to try to throw themselves in there somehow. Okay?
It is clear, therefore, and many learned people say that. And the learned mathematician Ruben Barrow has no hesitation in pronouncing Stonehenge to be a temple of the black curly-headed Buddha. Analysis by Godfrey Higgins, 1883. The religion of Buddha of India is well known to have have been very ancient. In the most ancient temples scattered throughout Asia, where his worship is yet continued, he is found a black as jet with the flat face, thick lips, and curly hair of the Negro.
There you go. Right there. The religion of Buddha of India is well known to have been very ancient. Okay? And the most ancient temples scattered throughout Asia, where his worship is yet continued, he is found black as jet. So he's jet black, with the flat face, thick lips, and curly hair of the Negro. So we were all over the place. We got, the temples to show it, and these people come and, and they start there. They just kind of, like they said, they go put their churches on top of our things or take over our buildings and make it seem as if they've been there the whole time. What did the Most High say? And Baruch, make you remember yourselves in the land of your captivities. You're going to remember how big you were. We got to think bigger. It wasn't just so-called little itty-bitty area of the Middle East. Now you're talking about people, people worshiping a so-called Negro in Asia. Now you got them, building things over here in Britain and Ireland. You got all the stuff that's over here in the Americas, on top of what they're hiding in Africa. And so is there a land here you think that we didn't touch? Now you're seeing that we're worldwide. And that's why he explains about this worldwide destruction that's coming, because the whole world has been complicit in hiding this truth. Let's continue. Several statues of him may be met with in the Museum of East India Company. There are 2 exemplars of him brooding on the face of the deep upon a coiled serpent. To what time are we to allot this Negro? He will be proved to have been to have spread over an immense extent of country, even to the remotest parts of Britain, and have been professed by devotees inconceivably numerous regions of Buddha. Of this I shall say no more. I shall say more hereafter. That is Anacalypsis by one of the greatest European writers, George Godfrey Higgins. Black folks work with the stones. This is common. This is not unusual. You can see here, number 1, this is a Stonehenge in Britain. If you know the Great Zimbabwe, look at Great Zimbabwe. This is similar with Stonehenge. This is Horemakut, which is in ancient Egypt, which is a black person. And these are the pyramids in ancient Egypt, and there are millions and millions of other pyramids all over the world built by black people. And this is the obelisk. This is what we do. We built obelisks. They were copied and stolen by many, many, many others. This is the American, Southern American pyramids. This is the American people, the Olmec. You can see he's a black person. And you can see these are all ancient Egypt and Egyptian people. So black people work with the stone and love to work with the stone. Candid authorities like the... Love to work with stone. So-called black people love to work with stone. Now you go back to that video I started with. Y'all didn't build nothing. Y'all built everything out of grass and wood and just one story. See, and that's why you can't be trusting a lot of these pastors. A lot of these, they're all working together. They're all part of that Psalms 83 conglomerate against the true people. We've done way more than just work with grass. just funny because all this information is out here and they don't touch that. Like I said, when we come out with this information, crickets from the other side. They got nothing to say, except that we don't have a history and we built nothing. British Egyptologists, as we have already indicated, Gerard Massey and Albert Churchward, the Scottish historian David Mark Ritchie, and the British antiquarian Geoffrey Higgins, have done exhaustive research and brought many facts to our knowledge. Tacitus, Pliny, Claudian, and other writers have described the blacks they encountered in the British Islands as black as Ethiopians. Come Negris, nimble-footed black people. You can see that this is a forensic mock-up of the first British. They were black, and this is one of the marrying, one of the people connected, or one of the royalties connected with Stonehenge.
and this is a Negro Grimaldi. So Stonehenge was built by black people for a purpose. The vital keys to understand why black people worked with stones has to do with communication, and has to do with the center of the cosmic, and has to do with something very critical, very important, very vital, which I shall show before conclusion. Vital keys.
So connecting with the galactic, collecting with the stars. Remember again. See how they're who was given that information? The Hebrews. But you see what they're doing is they're intermingling, or just Negro and African, like we're the same people. These Negroes did this, but it's Africans. These Negroes did this, but it's us Africans, black people. You see, so I just want to be very mindful of that. Just like today, hey, many of the Hamites wanted nothing to do with us. Many of the Hamites had a very negative opinion of us as a people. I could talk about that. My many encounters with so-called African people. Before you got to the truth, we thought we were brothers and whatever else, but they're quick to let you know that we're not brothers and that we're not the same people. And I didn't understand why they would say that before. I said, because hey, we're black, we're same skin color, everything else. They're like, no, we're not like you. You guys are slaves. You guys are this. You guys are that. And they actually thought they were much better than we are. Okay. And that was okay because hey, they were living in their heaven as well. So at that time they were better. You ain't better no more. Now that this truth is coming out, you guys who are put up to the head are going to become the tail. And people who were the tail are about to be moved back to the head. And it ain't gonna be, all you Hamites and whatever else. Okay. Now, if I'm not saying all, because I said, hey, what did Most High say? Some of the Gentiles are going to acknowledge this truth. And they're going to follow the ways of the Most High. Some of every nation. So I'm definitely open arms to the other nations that the Most High is going to awaken. But you're going to be serving the Most High's people, and you're going to be serving the Most High. Don't get that twisted. You had your time to be on top. You had your time to be the head. Now it's about to switch, and the Most High is about to move his people back to being the head.
Have to do with the megalithic site alliance stood in relation to the galactic center. That's important because it puts you in the zone. Its alignment marked the galactic center's vernal heliacal rising 7,000 BC. Amazingly, of the Milky Way. This is the Milky Way, but this is not Stonehenge, but this is the Milky Way in the heavens. And this was done 4,000 BCE to 6,270 BCE. This is Nabda Palaya in Africa, in the Saharan of Africa, older than Stonehenge, older than many others. So a unified sacred cosmology.
Again, this should pretty much hands down make it plain. The people who had this knowledge were the Israelites. The people that this knowledge was given to align with the stars and everything else, was given to the Israelites. So now that we've come to the conclusion, we know that it was the so-called white man. Now Africans, they want to make it seem like because it was in these lands that it was for sure was them. We were in those lands too. So don't think you guys can just come in and swoop in and take credit either, because we were in these lands also. So unless you can show us some proof, some stories of how the Most High took up some Hamites, or took up a particular Hamite or whatever else up into the heavenlies and gave all the information, gave them that download like he did to our forefather Enoch, you can't take credit for this either. You learned it from our forefather, okay, Abraham. But don't make it seem like you had this originally, because you didn't. But it's a great video and brings out a lot of good information. You tell this brother right here, like I said, is very, well read, has a lot of great information. Okay? Got a lot of great information.
Linking above with below is provided by these stone structures. we come to the study of astronomy, which teaches us that so as above, so as below. The oldest and most important astronomical site in the world was vandalized by white Arabs and other barbarians found in Nabla Palaya, in ancient Egypt, in Africa.
Like he said, he's talking. See, the Most High is absolutely wonderful. When we were going through our punishment, he put the spirit on all these other nations to do all this research and bring it out. Many of them bring it out, always trying to make it seem as if it was them that did it. Okay? All these other nations want to take credit for everything that we have done. But the Most High at the end is going to show you how, it was the Most High's chosen people that he gave this information to and that he's given it back to at the end. That's why revelation means to reveal. What is the Most High revealing at this time? Who his people are. He's revealing what we've gone through. He's revealing the curses that we went through. And he's also revealing how he's bringing us back to our rightful position. How he's fulfilling the covenant that he made with our forefathers. And he's blessed some of the other Gentiles to be able to be part of all of this. He didn't just use us, he used other people, he's other nations. And I'm sure they'll be blessed for what they've done to help our nation be able to get this information here at the end. Like we talked about before, everyone has jobs to do. Everyone has a mission to do. These brothers right here, I said these brothers right here, you look at these videos, you look at this information, you look at the books, you look at the stuff, that they've done. Then you realize that the Most High, downloaded on them to give them knowledge and understanding. He blessed them. They were able to complete their tasks. Gentiles have tasks too. So even now, we have the fact that, if we need to get something, if we need to get our hands on something, we're going to put the call out for the nation to help us. We're going to put the call out for the other nations. When the Most High pricks their hearts, they're going to help us because that's how it's been. And we're going to pray and thank the Most High for what they do. When our own brethren help us, we're going to pray to the Most High and thank him for what they've done, what the Most High has moved them to do. We are a very giving people. We are a people that always wants to work together. We are a people who always want to live in harmony. The other nations took advantage of that, and that's why they put up their churches and put up their forms of belief, so that because it's in our nature to help. So they put up their churches, or evil churches, the churches of Mahan, and our people would, even when they saw bad things going on in the church, they would look past it. They would make excuses for it. Oh, we need to forgive. We need to move on. We need to work together. We need to forgive because that's in our nature. And the priests of Mahan exploited that. But now the Most High is showing you who he's really dealing with. And then now we need to work together as a people. He's showing you who's been lying, who's been hiding information, who's been trying to stunt your growth. And it doesn't matter. They all don't have to look like the Gentiles. They can also look like our own people. If the spirit is in them to lead us astray, that's what they'll do. So that's what I always tell people: try the spirits. You have the Holy Spirit. She's going to lead you. So when you talk to people, just ask the Holy Spirit to be able to get understanding. When you're reading things, ask the Holy Spirit for understanding. When I put out a call for you guys to, for us as a nation to come together and help with something, just pray about it. See what the Most High says. What does the Most High move you to do? And that's where we're at right now. And as we work together, people are going to see that, and they're going to, be pulled to come to that. When they see us fighting all the time, that repels people. When we work together as a nation and they see the fruits of our labor as a nation, people will be called to that. Okay? Let's check a little bit more. I'm talking about the Europeans here messing this up.
Meroe there in Sudan. These are cosmic stars and cosmic signs. So when our ancestors arrived in Europe, they built Stonehenge to connect Stonehenge with all other 30 power.
Wow. Okay, I didn't finish the whole video yet. Are you serious? Absolutely amazing. Look at that. Earth right here, Stonehenge, and then the heads over there. Wow. Absolutely amazing. I didn't see this until right now because I wasn't going to play as much of the video, but as it's going through, it's getting better and better, right? It's like toes, and then the head.
Powerful structures on the earth. One greatest example is Easter Island, where Stonehenge is directly connected with the monuments found in Easter Island here in Australia. This is.
Are you serious? Absolutely amazing. So now you got these people right here, now they're telling you that the Negroes actually built the toes that come out of the earth. And then I'm going to get actually another book about the head. It's actually already on its way, about Easter Island and the heads. Absolutely amazing. As this shows you, how absolutely wonderful the Most High is, and how He's hidden a lot of this information from the vast majority of the world. Now you got to look. Wow. I have no words right now. Check this out.
Testimony to so above as below. Now, thank you. This is Hamid Hebrew Ethics. I hope you have grasped something and that you have looked at Stonehenge and accepted that it was built by black people to prove that they were in Europe, they founded Europe, and also to prove beyond any reasonable doubt that we are cosmically connected and we are the original species on the earth. Thank you.
That was a really good video. I'll make sure I leave that information, okay, in the description box. Wow. Absolutely amazing. And you put this information together. You saw how that pastor at first wanted to make it sound as if you didn't know what the hell, you haven't done anything. You haven't built nothing. And as you go through and you read the information, these other people, they got this information. They know who built all this. And that's why they've been working so hard to keep it from us. I can't believe that with Stonehenge and the toes and the head over in Easter Island going through the earth. I'm just awestruck right now how the Most High has been working. Now, anybody who's been trying to keep us in one book, get the hell out of here. Our people ran everything. And the Most High, like the earth is speaking to us. The earth is revealing the truth. And this is definitely a video. It's going to be a call to the Jews, Israelites, Gentiles, the ones that the Most High is moving, to grasp onto this truth, to grasp onto our Father, to pray for the earthly mother or the Holy Spirit to come into your heart, to come into your mind and rejuvenate you. Because we are way more than what these other nations have told us. We are way more than I think anything that we could dream of. I said, because we are chosen by the Father. And we're living in absolutely wonderful, wonderful times. Much love, family. All praise is to the Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Nazareth Yahweh Shai. Shalom.